Hey, what's up everybody? This is my old phone, the Google Pixel 2, and I plan to sell it, but before I do, it needs a new battery and a new USB-C port. The USB-C port can't hold the cable in securely. If I try to pull the phone up by the cable, it falls out. I have already tried to clean the connector, but had no luck. Let's get started. I'm going to use a razor blade to first pry into the screen. Then I'm using a guitar pick to separate the screen from the phone. Here is my screen protector. Here is the phone's screen and the body of the phone. I'm going to insert my razor blade between the screen and the phone's body right here. I'm setting my heat gun to low and heating at the top of the screen for about 15 seconds. Wave the heat gun back and forth. Don't hold it steady in the same place. Keep away from the phone camera. Insert the blade near the phone speaker. I'm using a suction tool to lift the screen as I insert my guitar pick and pull out the razor blade. I'm adding some heat so I can slide my pick around the top right corner. My intentions were to reuse the screen because there's nothing wrong with the screen, but that didn't go as planned. I insert another pick at the top of the phone to keep the screen from sticking back in. I added more heat and continued to separate the screen from the phone. After releasing the screen edges from the phone, the screen wouldn't come off, and that's because the adhesive around the speakers was still holding in the screen. Here's where I cracked the LCD screen. I inserted the pick too far up and cracked the LCD screen. Look at that, a loose screw. That means this screen was replaced at some point. There's a ribbon cable that connects the screen to the phone, so be careful and don't yank the screen out. We have to be careful with the ribbon cable. Place the screen face down close to the connector. Using the Torx bit number 5, I remove the screws from the connector. Remove the metal plate covering the connector. Now pry up on the connector to release it. We have to remove the midframe to get access to the battery and USB-C port. There are about 11 Phillips head screws and one Torx bit holding in the midframe. You don't need to see me remove them all. Some were annoying to get out. Then lift these two pieces of tape. The midframe is held in by some tabs on the sides and the top of the midframe. You'll notice that you can easily lift the lower right side of the midframe. Insert your prying tool here and move your way up. I use my tweezers to pop the tab up. Then the next tab. Lift the midframe up and wiggle it out at like a 45-degree angle. Here's a look inside the phone. The first thing you want to do is disconnect the battery. Lift this connector right here. Then disconnect the ribbon cable that leads to the USB-C port. Lift the tape and lift the connector. Now carefully lift the battery from this side. Be careful not to damage the antenna wires that are right here. Before you start lifting out the battery, be mindful not to yank or damage the ribbon cable right here. Pry under the battery and lift it up. Lift the battery and pull it towards you. There are 3 main adhesive strips holding in the battery. I reused those strips. Old battery, new battery. Before putting in my new battery, I wanted to replace the USB-C connector. Remove this screw and disconnect your antenna wires. Now disconnect the speaker wire. I pushed the connector out through here with my tweezers. Now pry the vibration motor up and out. There are 2 pieces to this lower section. First, pry up under here to lift one side. Then you can lift the other piece out. Here's my replacement connector. It comes with a board, vibration motor, and a ribbon cable attached. There's a little trick to putting this all back together. First, insert the speaker side and take note that the little button right here fits neatly into the speaker housing here. Now lift the speaker from the bottom side of the phone at like a 45-degree angle. Hold it. Next, insert the other part, but insert it with the USB-C port side angled down first. Now push the USB-C port into its place. Then slowly let the 2 sides come down and together. I added some double-sided adhesive at the bottom of the vibration motor to secure it. Sit the vibration motor in place. Make sure the black antenna cable isn't under the vibration motor. Next, I had to transfer the microphone over to the new board. Snap it in place. Now reconnect the speaker cable. Next, connect the antenna and reroute the cable into the path. Don't forget about the black antenna wire. And lastly, replace the screw. Now install the battery at an angle while tucking the battery under this ribbon cable. Make sure the antenna wires are not stuck under the battery. Now press down on the battery. Connect the battery. You can feel it and hear it snap in. I'm making sure the other connectors are fastened. Now fasten the ribbon cable too. Before you install the midframe, you need to remove a sensor at the top of the midframe. It is held in with adhesive and a button that fits into a hole. Connect the sensor to the motherboard. Easier said than done. It took me a few tries. Keep the sensor pointing up. Now bring in your midframe. Secure the sensor on the button. Now snap in the midframe. Don't forget to put all the screws back in place and secure the tape back in place. Let's test this new USB-C connector. It's good. Now let's prepare the phone for the new screen. We have to remove the leftover adhesive around the frame and around the speakers. I'm using a Q-tip with some alcohol to clean the phone before installing the new screen. A few days later, the new screen arrived in the mail. It comes with the adhesive around the speakers. The camera holder is also protected. There's no need to transfer anything from the old screen to the new screen. I want to test the new screen before installing it so I can return it if it doesn't work. It's good. I'm using double-sided 2mm tape. Carefully press the tape down. Then cut off the ends that your fingers touched. The phone is now ready for the new screen. You'll see me remove the plastic protectors on the back of the screen now, but I recommend you do this after the screen is connected. That way, you reduce the risk of touching the adhesives on the back of the screen with your hand. The screen is very delicate. Handle it from the sides. Put the screen face down on the phone with the cable close to the connector on the phone. Connect the ribbon cable. It took me multiple tries. I'm making sure the connector is securely fastened. Insert the metal plate. Fasten the screws. Now is when you want to remove all the covering strips and adhesives on the phone. Handle the screen from the sides and butt the screen against the inside of the phone frame on one end first. Then carefully lay the screen down, ensuring that the sides and the other top end are fitting inside the frame. Press the screen down all around the phone, ensuring the screen is flat. I used screen clamps to hold in the screen for a couple of hours. You don't have to use these clamps, you can just put some heavy books on top of the phone. If you plan on reusing the screen and you didn't break it, you need to remove the old adhesive from the back of the screen before installing it. Do not try to scratch it off. You will remove the paint from the glass. Get some Q-tips and some alcohol and clean off the adhesive. Here's a look at where I broke the LCD panel. Here's me breaking the LCD screen some more. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up, leave your questions in the comments section, and I'll see you in the next one.